Hey guys, it's Burke and Dotson back with another low poly Panda review, and this time we're looking at Gran Turismo 7.
A game that's newer for us because we're used to reviewing old shitty games.
Pretty much.
And
hey, we don't know if this one's shitty or not. We got to get to that, but
we're gonna get there.
It's relevant now. It'll see how long it takes to edit it and put it up on the channel. You might be seeing this in 2024, and I apologize for that if you are. But
good things come to those that wait, though. You know.
That's right, and Gran Turismo 7 is one of those things because we have been waiting a long time. Gran Turismo Sport was a good iteration back in 2017, but it just wasn't the normal Gran Turismo. I think for you and me, the last one we both played that's part of the main series was Gran Turismo 5.
Mm-hmm. It's a good one. Sport didn't do it for me. You know, I couldn't drive cars at that time, apparently, and the racing with people, well, you have more experience with that, but I'm not good with people in a crowd setting.
No, nothing's changed. So this one, it, like you were saying, kind of gets back to the roots. It's a reiteration of another numbered game in the series instead of the online-only aspect that Sport originally came out to be. And I think it's a good return to form. I mean, just looking at it on its base components, first up we got graphics that we always love to talk about, and this one's been a gold standard for racing games for a long time, since the PS1 era.
My God, there's so much going on with this game in the looks department. I mean, everything's modeled from the interior, exterior. They got ray tracing that looks just stupid good. All the maps and models, the rain, the weather. My God, we could go on and on about it, how good it looks.
And the weather is something I do want to go on about because it is ridiculous. I mean, the weather engine that they built for this was way nerdier than it needed to be. And it pays off. I mean, going into a race around a track like Spa-Francorchamps where the weather rolls in and the puddles start to form at the bottom of Eau Rouge, or, off the drying line that makes a huge difference on the tires, it's just amazing. That being said, all the tracks are spot on, but they feel kind of lifeless to me. Compared to the density of something like Forza or F1 or even Assetto Corsa, where there's a lot of markings on the track and they look rubbered in and more worn. But the cars, super detailed. Everything is gorgeous there. The beautifully modeled cars running through something like Deep Forest where you have lighting coming through the trees and the weather rolling in. It's just otherworldly.
And don't forget, though, before we switch gears, speaking of the graphics, the photo mode in this, the photos look, you cannot tell them from a real photo. I mean, you've sent me some, and every single one of them, I'm like, whose photo is this that you're showing me? It's not yours. You didn't take this in-game, and these are all in-game and amazing. So especially if you're a person that enjoys taking photos of cars, I mean, it's a game that's got racing and it's got what you love to do.
Yeah, and, you can modify those photos as much as you want. I think they have over 2,500 different locations now for the photos. All of them have proper light boxes and shadow boxing in them. Not guys just sitting in the corner boxing the air, but, shadows that are actually cast on the car from garages or lights, and it makes the photos look real. I'll put a few up on screen while we're talking here that I love playing around in the mode because I'm a huge car nerd. And when you combine that with, like, the livery editor and the suit and helmet editors that they have, you can make them really customized, and just people do some amazing, outstanding work out there. Well, not me, but there's some creative people.
You've got some of these, I guarantee you, these are background screens for your computer or your phone or something. I mean, I'm pretty sure you're going to print one of these out. It's going to be on a wall somewhere. That's how good they look.
Well, that being said, if you do want something newer than like a 2017 on a car model, you are kind of limited. They reused a lot of models from GT Sport, but more are coming. I think it's going to be one of the standout games for years to come on the PS5 graphically. And it's no slouch on audio either. It's a huge step up for Gran Turismo with the car sounds. They used to sound kind of flat, especially when compared to something like Forza. Exhaust makes a huge difference now, and running a full race exhaust on something like a flat plane crank V8 Ferrari versus a little four-cylinder Renault, both sound good in their own right, but they're wildly different.
But with the good comes the bad, as my famous quote goes, and the only negative I would say on the sound department is the actual music in-game. 5 had way better sound, had some actual artists in there, and this is all just, I don't even know what you want to call it. It's
elevator music in the background.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
But some of it's a little bit better than elevator music, I'll say, but it's still in that same lane. Yeah.
Well, maybe you ain't riding in the right elevators.
I have not been in those type of elevators.
So
apparently.
yeah, I think audio wise on the music, it is a step down, even from GT Sport, but definitely Gran Turismo 5, which had an amazing soundtrack. And it's a shame because they make a big deal out of music this time around with music rallies and music replays that time everything to music on camera changes, but then you have this kind of flat, not really interesting, really forgettable soundtrack that kind of lets it down, which Gran Turismo always used to bring quirky yet good music to the scene.
They bring that Dylon fire. You know what I
Oh
mean?
man, he's top 5, I hear. You know,
Everybody
and
knows it.
that's right. Gameplay wise, the campaign is back. It's back to original Gran Turismo. GT Sport did add single player races like a year down the line, but it wasn't the old Clubman Cup and Sunday Cups that you were used to racing in all the original Gran Turismos. That being said, it's thin, and those cups really aren't here still. So menu books are in this time, and the menu book essentially, you go to a cafe, it tells you, hey, let's learn about Mustangs. Go collect 3 Mustangs by racing in 3 different races. As long as you win, you get 3 different Mustangs. And I believe there's 38 mini books in total. The cars as the rewards you get can be pretty decent, especially in the later on menu books.
Yeah.
And all the menu books slowly unlock more features and more tracks for you to race on until you fully unlock the game.
Yeah, it's kind of fun to collect the different cars in there. It's kind of, I'm gonna say it, a little Pokemon-esque. You know, you want to collect them, and then it's kind of neat, the little story that it tells about the manufacturer and the different models. It's kind of a cool, slow walk through all these different makes and models from around the world. It is kind of cool. I like what they did with the menu books.
Yeah, that's just another factor that this is a game for car nerds because it
Yep.
has all the information about the history of the cars. Hey, this is why the Skyline started, what it was competing against. There are 3 models in its history you just collected. It tells you about them, shows you some beauty shots, and then manufacturers have museums where you can learn more about them, timelines about cars. I mean, it's a huge car nerd paradise.
Yeah.
That being said, there is more to do than just the menu books. You do have license tests are back. You do have missions that have some challenging. You have open races, not a whole lot, unfortunately. And then, of course, there's online. So single player definitely needs to be expanded, I think. They don't even have races for, GT2, GT1 cars or your Formula cars that are in the game to buy today. But I think gameplay-wise, it's getting back to roots and back to where it needs to be. There are a few problems, like the used car market is being
Yeah.
currently, I want to say it's being updated every couple days with 1 or 2 new cars, but it's not turning over like you'd expect it to, and you can't even sell cars, but that is coming, according to them. We'd be remiss without mentioning recently, this is an online-only game. You have to be connected. The servers have to be up for it to work, and last week the game was down for over 30 hours because everything was shut down with a bad patch. So, something to look out for. Hopefully won't happen too much, but got to mention it because it affected a lot of people.
Which it is an interesting thing when you ask why they went that course. I don't know, but it's a shame sometimes because the offline, I think there's still a big community that likes to, doesn't matter, let them do their own thing. They don't need to be connected like GT5 was. But I don't know, new times, new things.
Yeah, and not the only downside to the game, unfortunately. The grind is real. So payouts, credits are hard to come by unless you want to pay real world money. I don't remember if it happens after you get your S license or after you finish your menu books, but every time you win any race and you get to collect your credits at the end, at the very bottom it tells you, hey, you want to top up them credits? Head over to the PlayStation Store by clicking this button. So microtransactions are pumped and they're in every screen available every time you see credits.
And cars and services, I would say so far, are pretty expensive though compared to other games. I would say. I mean, these cars, and it almost makes you wonder if there's a connection there between the real world money and why these prices are so high. So,
yeah, I mean, some real world cars are expensive, and I get that. And they have a legendary car dealership, which really pumps out the fear of missing out. And you have 5 cars in there that are normally super expensive. They tell you that, hey, they're limited time. Once these go away, there's no other way to get them in the game. They don't pop up on the used car market or in Brand Central. So it does push you towards, hey, you need money. You need to get this. You need to spend the money. And the only real good way to get money would be buying it right now. Because running the same race over and over without a lot of payout, it gets old quick on that grind. Online doesn't pay that much right now either, so it needs to be reworked for the economy for sure. But other than that, I think gameplay wise, it's got a steady start. It just needs more content, more ways to earn money.
I was going to ask you, because I know you're a big car nerd and racing game nerd yourself. How would you feel, like, speaking of the gameplay, though, compared to other games, did they hit the mark? Are others a little bit better as far as, I mean, because you would probably know some subtleties more than anybody.
So it's probably the most accessible sim type racer. Obviously, when you have something like Assetto Corsa or iRacing, those are full on sims, and this has a lot of that framework in here. It can be spot on the physics engine, and like I said, the weather engine that they have is amazing. It makes for real tight racing. The cars feel like they should. They feel good. They feel grippy. They let loose when you think they're going to let loose, and you can feel how wide they are when you're in the car. You know, running from a cockpit view, I know exactly where the sides of my car are, where I'm going to make contact. Everything works like you expect it to work. You know, playing every racing game there is. You have Forza Horizon on one end, that's arcadey, or like Grid Legends that just came out. On the other end, you have the super sims like iRacing and AC, and then you have Gran Turismo, which leans more toward the sim and feels really good, but it's also accessible. You know, like my dad's playing it now, and he's played some racing games before, but never to this extent, and he's loving it because it is made accessible for people with different assist, different settings, different tweaking. You know, you have the ability to be a car nerd, to tweak every little setting that's in the car, make that car your own and handle like you want it to. Or you can leave it default, buy some upgrade parts, leave all the assist on, and see what you can do on the race.
Very nice. Very nice. I was going to say,
That
for
being
me,
said,
though, too, real quick, is that it is a nostalgia factor. If for any of you that like GT5, this is back to that. And it's kind of a combination between sport and GT5. They're kind of smashing, because it has the sport aspect too. I'm loving it. I think, though, what I was going to get to myself is that if you're a racer, diehard racer, pick it up now. If you're a little bit more moderate in that, you enjoy racing here and there, maybe a game that maybe needs to scratch that itch, maybe wait a little bit on this game, let them make some fixes and some updates, and then get into it down the road.
I'm happy paying the full amount that I did. You know, I bought the anniversary edition with the steelbook and everything. It was $90, and I don't feel ripped off. I got already 70, 80 hours into it, and I'm going to put even more in it after we get off of this review. And as far as I was talking about accessibility, I've played it with both a Thrustmaster T300 RS GT edition with the stock wheel and with the Thrustmaster Ferrari F1 wheel. Both felt great, exactly like you'd expect them to feel. But the surprising part for me was how good the DualSense on the PS5 feels. The haptic feedback on it is amazing. The throttle response, I mean, everything was top notch. And this is the first game where I can honestly say I don't feel I'm going to be faster on the wheel than I am on a controller. It was made for the DualSense, and you can tell. So, accessible for everybody. I think it's a good value right now, even the way it is. But if it goes the way of GT Sport, where in a year's time they have more cars, more tracks, more races, more features, and it's a PlayStation hit that you can get for $20 or $30, that's obviously going to be a no-brainer. I think it's worth it today, even though there are some downsides. If you like racing games, this is the racing game to have right now. As always, thanks for watching and supporting the channel. Be sure to like, subscribe, and let us know what you want to see next in the comments.